Stephen Garvey, founder, leader of National Citizens Alliance of Canada, NCA. We're a true populist, nationalist, registered federal party. We're running in 2019. Tonight we're going to talk about the extreme mass migration into Canada and about how the mainstream parties, the mainstream media have been deceiving the Canadian people on the real totals coming into Canada. I'm going to go through a lot of facts tonight. A lot of facts. We want to empower Canadians with the facts. That's what NCA is about. We support recall, referendum. We support transparency. Providing the facts, providing solutions, listening to your input. This is a vehicle of the Canadian people, NCA, without question. We're 100% grassroots. This is staggering what's going on with this country. It's all top down. Some of our supporters call it an invasion. Invasion of migration. Depends on your view, but it's pretty sickening what's going on. And those on the losing end are the Canadian people and migrants that have come here 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. This is outrageous. So I'm going to get right into the numbers tonight. But I have to stress this. Most economists agree that immigration has an insignificant impact on the economy and increased per capita individual income. This has been settled by most economists. In addition, most economists believe that immigration has an insignificant impact on an aging population. I'm not going to get into all the numbers, but there is a video we did. I encourage people to go look at it. It's called NCA Immigration Plan for Canada, Part 3 Economic. It's on our YouTube page at National Citizens Alliance. It's also on our Facebook page at National Citizens Alliance. That video goes into all the economic numbers. But I'm just going to share a couple of basic ones. New migrants through regular channel are 40 billion a year taxation negative. That means they're consuming more services than taxes paid to the tune of 40 billion a year out of your pocket. 40 billion a year. This number was calculated by NCA using a report by economist Grubel out of SFU. When we factor in the total migration, which we're going to share today, this number may be very higher by factoring in job displacement by Canadian workers. Keep that in mind. This number may be very higher. It's unclear right now. We're not going to say, but right now we're just saying around 40 billion a year, right? In addition, it should be pointed out the 2019 budget for Ministry of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship was budgeted for 3.3 billion of your tax dollars. The Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada was budgeted for 57 million of your tax dollars. In addition, Canada is growing naturally. Approximately 294 new Canadians per day. So there's a myth that we're a declining population. However, we actually looked further into this number. That results in 107 310 natural population growth a year. If new migrants are having double the births, so we're just making an assumption there. Let's say they're having double the births as compared to traditional Canadians. That's probably not far off the mark. Invisible ethnic minorities are 23% of our population compared to 77% traditional Canadian right now. Then, of the new Canadians, 49,362 are visible ethnic minority, and only 57,947 traditional Canadians. Under the mainstream immigration plan, which you have no say in, Canada is projected by 2100 to be 80% visible ethnic minority, 20% traditional Canadian. This is a complete reversal of the demographic makeup of Canada. This is all planned, organized through these mainstream parties. And it should be noted, I'm going to bring up an image here which will show this. In this chart here, this is from the government of Canada under ethnic diversity and immigration. You can see the chart here. The blue is in 2006. It's all ages. It shows it's around 16% at that time. We believe it's up around 23% right now. This is 2031. It will be over 30% visible ethnic minority. That's how quick it's changing. And you can see the aging of visible ethnic minorities. 45 to 64. That's why this migration has no impact on the aging population. You can see it right here. Look at that. But I want to stress here, it should be noted, the Privy Council, excuse me, there was a call. Ooh. Sorry about that. There was a call coming in. There was a call coming in. It should be noted the Privy Council, the Queen's Privy Council, comprised of mainstream career politicians, including Maxime Bernier, and primary from the Conservative Party and Liberal Party, shadow the federal government and direct the government on migration totals. We should always keep that in mind when we're looking at what's going on in the federal government. Realize there is a Privy Council comprised primarily of Conservative Party members, Liberal Party members who are shadowing, directing the federal government. The immigration reality that I'm going to get into it right now. In our estimation at NCA, there's a backlog between 11-year, 20-year backlog in terms of processing applications. We believe the total population of Canada statistically may be deliberately inaccurate to cover up the mass migration into the country. We're not convinced on the totals. That would not surprise us. It should be noted as well, the UN Migration Pact stems from UN Agenda 2030, which Harper adopted and is being implemented by all levels of government. The immigration numbers demonstrate that there is already mass migration into Canada. So my point is, There's a lot of people for political agenda are blaming Trudeau and the Liberals for everything, but this has been going on before Trudeau and the Liberals, and we will prove that. So our message, it doesn't matter which mainstream party gets in. I'm going to jump right into the numbers now. This will blow your mind. Just give me a second here. I got to get that image up. Here it is right here. Sorry about that. I received this a few days ago from one of our immigration professionals. This is the immigration level plan from 2019 to 2021. It's already been planned out. Despite the political theater of these mainstream parties and Bernier, it's all been planned out by them. So what they have in mind is economic is one of the main categories. It should be noted this does not include temporary foreign workers. So there's a plan in 2019. The target is to bring 191,600. And then this next category is family. They're planning to bring in this is chain migration. So these are parents, grandparents, spouses, partners. The plan of the establishment parties is to bring in 88,500 in 2019. And under refugees and protected persons, this is humanitarian, but only permanent. No mention of illegal asylum claims. International mobility program, though protected persons fall under asylum cases. So they're projected to bring in a total of 46,450 plus an additional 4,250, bringing the total of what we call regular migration 330,800 in 2019. This here is a summary of the NCA immigration plan. You can view this on our homepage at nationalcitizensalliance.ca. The key points: we support a moratorium on immigration with no end date. 50,000 or less total immigration per year. So check this comprehensive plan out. Now, I'm going to put up the real numbers now. That'll build off what I shared. So these are the targets for 2019. Regular legal migration, economic 191,600. Chain migration 88,500. Humanitarian 51,900. Total 330,800. The Canadian people were never consulted. Nothing at all. This is all top down from the federal government and by extension to the Privy Council and other agencies and departments and the handlers, the globalist handlers. And here's the key point. What is not included in these totals? What is not included in these totals? And why has not a single mainstream party, including Bernier, been honest about the totals not included? They should know more than anyone else, wouldn't you think? Someone like Bernier was feeding off the trough for 10 years. You would think a crony career politician like him would know, wouldn't you? Or someone like Scheer, same thing. Both of those, Scheer and Bernier, were feeding off the trough under Harper, yet neither of them, nor Trudeau, nor Singh or May, have come out honestly about the migration numbers into Canada. Wouldn't you say they're lying? Isn't that a lie? And if they don't know, what are they doing in government? They're absolutely corrupt. Right? Think about these things. These are the numbers here. What is not included in the totals? Study permit holders, 317,328. And this was issued in 2017. 317,328. Temporary foreign workers, 78,788. Again, this is 2017 numbers. International Mobility Program, 224,033, 2017. Illegal migrants who are undetected, no asylum claim, the government provides zero data. So we don't know what that number would be. It could be 500, it could be 1,000, it could be 5,000. We don't know. The government is secret about that number. There's no data, no estimate. So the total of what's not included is 620,149. It's safe to assume it's higher because these are based on 2017 numbers. So the total projected migration intake in 2019 is 950,949. 950,949 total migration intake into Canada. That is a fact. Those numbers are real. If we factor in the number of people who left Canada, and we're looking at 2018 numbers, 69,550, then the total intake comes to 881,399 total migration flow into Canada. Almost 900,000 flow into Canada. That's what's going on. That's why you're seeing the changes in your community at such a rapid level. There's a massive migration. Think of Germany and other European countries. Germany was letting in, 1 million migrants? We're just below that right now. The number of people we're letting in. So I want to put this in context. Under Harper, in comparison, this is based on 2015, his last year in office. He brought in 172,100 economic, chain migration, 63,000, humanitarian, 24,900. A total of 260,000 regular legal migration. And what he never told you, or nor any of the mainstream parties, he allowed 219,143 study permit holders, 73,016 temporary foreign workers, 175,967 migrants through the International Mobility Program. Again, legal migrants who are undetected, and these could be criminal elements, gangs. There's no data. So the total of what's not included under Harper was 468,126. The total migration intake under Harper in 2015 was 728,126. These are some important notes that we should be aware of. These are some background nuggets I found that you need to be aware of. In 2018, asylum seekers wait on average 21 months for a hearing. That's almost 2 years. While they're waiting, they're on government handouts, social services, healthcare, access to legal representation, etc., etc. 2 years sitting in Canada to wait to get their case heard. Canada has a backlog of asylum claims that will likely reach 100,000 by the end of 2021, before apparently stabilizing up from 75,000 today. This is according to the chairperson of the Immigration and Refugee Board. And remember what I shared, the government is giving this board $57 million this year to process all these asylum claims with the backlog. To put this in context, in 2011, Harper let in 192,000 temporary foreign workers. 192,000. The problem with these temporary foreign workers is that they're pushing our wages down. They're making it harder for Canadians to find work. Very troubling. Very troubling. Almost 90% of temporary foreign workers who were still in Canada after 10 years had obtained permanent residency, having made the transition from temporary foreign worker to landed immigrant. So this is an important point. All these migrants coming in, do you think they're paying all this money for the universities to leave the country afterwards? A lot of them want to get on to permanent residency. Same with the temporary foreign workers. 90% after 10 years of being in the country. This is why we think the population may not be accurate of the country. They may be fudging it. Of the 286,479 permanent residents admitted in 2017, a total of 76% self-identified as having knowledge of English. So this is insane what the government's doing. It's based on self-identification in terms of English, French, or official languages. This will give you the numbers here. This is from the Government of Canada website. You can see temporary foreign workers under Harper 73,000. It went up to in 2016 to 78,000 and a little bit more, 78,788 in 2017. International Mobility Program under Harper 170,967. Then it went up to 207,829 and higher in 2017, 224,033. The study permit holders, 219,143 under Harper, 2015. 2016, 265,111. And higher still, 317,328 under Harper. Trudeau, I should say. This is on the transition from temporary worker to permanent resident. There was almost 50,000 in 2015, 41,625 in 2016, almost 50,000 in 2017. Transition from international student to permanent resident. In 2015, there was over 8,500. 2016, over 8,000. 2017, over 9,000. This chart here, it shows the increase in the study permit holders since 2011. It's been steadily increasing. Now in 2017, there's almost 500, it's actually over 500,000 study permit holders in Canada. Most of these study permit holders are coming from China, India, as this graph shows. This page here is called canucklaw.ca. This gentleman has done great work on different issues, including this one. And he confirms the NCA data. So take a look at his work, going into it, comparing, showing all the numbers here. And then he does a comparison, showing there's not much difference. He compared Bernier to Trudeau, and he showed the difference was insignificant. I'm going to go into a really pointed comparison now. So this is an NCA immigration total compared to the mainstream parties. So NCA, we support a moratorium with no end date, followed by 50,000 or less total per year. If we look at the other parties based on their policies, CPC supports 950,949 per year. Total migration into Canada. That's almost 1 million a year. Liberals, same thing, 950,949. NDP, 950,949. The Greens, 950,949. PPC supports 770,000 total migration into Canada. So you got a clear choice there. And, we're assuming, like the Conservatives, Bernier's into temporary foreign workers, which are hurting Canadian workers. So we're assuming his reduction, which we don't really believe, he would make up for it by having a massive influx of temporary foreign workers. So we would probably put Bernier at the same level of these same parties. 950,949. Under the NCA plan, immigration plan, we will implement a moratorium with no end date, as mentioned, followed by a substantial reduction in migration intake to 50,000 or less. We assume the outflow of people from Canada will be insignificant due to the substantial reduction in migration intake, greater overall prosperity and security of the people in Canada. We will scrap the International Mobility Program, dismantle the Temporary Foreign Workers Program, and replace that program with focus on Canadian workers and deal with abuse of temporary foreign workers. A key focus of NCA is retraining Canadian workers who are jobless. But the immigration plan of NCA is revolutionary. In terms of the student permit holders, we're basically going to shut that down. We're going to limit that to maybe 1,000 a year permanent holders coming in, which means a lot of these universities in Canada are going to have to shut down. Because the only reason they're existing is they're feeding off these foreign students coming in. And we think that would be a good thing. Because there's so many educated people in Canada who are not working in their fields. It'd be good to consolidate the universities. We don't need as many as we have. And why? Why should the Canadian people be compromised by the economic problems of these universities? Why should we be allowing all this migration in just to keep these universities going? Another point is the provincial nominee program. We would limit that, and we have jurisdiction as the federal government under the Constitutional Act. We would limit that totally down. So let's go back to the numbers. Right here. Under the NCA plan, this regular migration will be down to 50,000 or less. Economic, we will put it at, let's say, 20,000. The chain migration would be limited to maybe 5,000. Humanitarian, maybe 10,000 or less. We would allow probably around 1,000 study permit holders, temporary foreign workers. Again, we would limit that. We would scrap this program completely out. International Mobility Program. So you have a clear choice this election. It couldn't be clearer. Those numbers are real. Again, I ask you, why are the mainstream parties silent about them? What are they hiding? How can you support parties like that who don't share the truth with you, who pretend that the migration, the numbers coming in are 300,000, when in fact they're over 900,000? Why do we have to fund these universities? Why do the Canadian people have to be compromised so these universities can stay in business? Why do we need all these temporary foreign workers? There's lots of Canadians who are looking for work, who want to be retrained. Why are we allowing these corporations to get all this cheap labor coming in at lower wages, less benefits? The whole system is upside down, what we have. It's not focused on producing. It's all outsourced to China, Vietnam, Korea, other third world countries. Canadian workers are suffering. We're not producing our own products. Better products than what could be produced in China. Yet we have these career politicians like Bernier who want globalist trade with China. So all these companies will be in there sending their junk to Canada. This is all upside down. NCA will change it. You can see how serious this is. This is a massive influx of people coming into the country, almost 1 million a year. Almost 1 million a year. Go to universities. They're all full of foreign students. All these temporary workers that the Conservative Party goes on and how much they want to get them into permanent residency. Same with Bernier. They're all in on it. This is the truth today. Look at Kanzuk, the video we did on that. This is all about the liberal international order. They're afraid of populism, nationalism, Canadian sovereignty. These are the globalists. They're in the mainstream parties. These are the facts tonight. We have jurisdiction, the federal government, to determine who comes in. Please share the message tonight. Thank you very much.